Today I'm gonna go look at a parts truck. I'm just sick and tired of dealing with people and not coming through. People tell me that they have what I need, and yeah, come on up and get it, and or they're supposed to get back to me and they don't, or I go look at it and it's absolute garbage. I'm just tired of it. So I'm gonna go look at a parts truck, and I'm gonna buy, this is ridiculous, I'm gonna buy a whole entire truck so that I can get the 3-foot section of frame that I need right now. It is what it is. I've called, and I know a lot of guys said in the last video, you know, get a hold of this guy, get a hold of this company, they can make them. Yeah, well, the problem is with most of them, either the price is too high, the lead time is way too far out, or they have minimum lengths. One shop will only do 20-foot lengths. That's their shortest. They won't do anything shorter. And that price, I just can't absorb in this truck for what we're doing. So we're gonna go look at a parts truck. If I get it, I'll make the deal, do the paperwork, and then my wife and I'll go back and get it. She's doing some other stuff today, so fingers crossed this turns out okay. Well, we checked all the fluids, checked the lights, and it had a little issue trying to start, and the dash was going crazy and all kinds of weird stuff, and I found the wiring problem with that real quick, and we're on our way home. I don't know how far we'll make it. I mean, it has transmission issues, which is, you know, one of the reasons that I thought it was a perfect fit for us, because if we want to turn this into a dump truck and use a transmission mounted PTO driven hydraulic pump, then the transmission would have to come out, because these U-Haul trucks, they don't order the Allison transmission with a PTO gear, and you know, we know this going in, so it's not really a big deal. It kind of works out in our favor. I mean, not really in our favor, but it's less of an obstacle for us if we want to use that, since it needs a transmission fixed anyways. But anyways, let's see how far we make it. We may make it all the way home. We may not. I may have to tow it. But so far, so good. Fingers crossed. Let's take it easy. See if we can make it home. We made it home. No troubles whatsoever, man. It really ran well. Shifted well. Temperature was good. Oil pressure was good. Charged well. And the tachometer, I shut the key off and turned it back on a couple times. Now tach's working like it's supposed to. So we're going to go ahead and put the scanner on, see what which is which, just so we have a better understanding of what's going on. Got a little damage to the dash right there. Looks like that's broken loose. Minimal things. Nothing we're really concerned about, because it's just a work truck. But we'll see if we can get this thing to auto ID here. Okay, so here are the codes we have. Pressure control solenoid, G, electrical, TCC, circuit electrical problem, and TCM, power input signal. This one and this one I'm going to assume is because of the loose connection. Like, I bought this with a wiring problem, of course. There was a wiring problem with it. You'd drive it and it would cut out, and they had it sold several times, and people backed off when they found that problem. They didn't want anything to do with it because they're afraid of electrical problems. Luckily for me, I like them, I enjoy them, so it worked out. So we're gonna clear the codes and see which one of these resets. Okay, so these two codes set immediately again, so there's obviously a problem here. We have an electrical issue. They didn't want to fool with it. To me, that's perfect. It's like there's nothing for reverse. It's not engaging reverse. Yeah, nothing at all. Okay, I guess we can look into that, but for right now, let's look at the truck, because this really isn't a big deal to us. The bigger concern, that's annoying. GM runs that buzzer through the speakers of the truck. So anyways, this fender needs some repair here. It was banging on the way home. I may have another one of these, I'm not sure. The hood's in pretty good shape. Be nice to have the dual headlights instead of single, but whatever. This is a bumper cover that looks nice. Underneath it is probably crap. But that's okay. The front tires are really, really good. A little more damage right here. Nothing spectacular, nothing horrendous. But man, the underside of the cab is in nice shape. You know, it's not all rotted out. It's pretty clean. The rockers are good. The back sides are good. Hard to see, but it's in really nice shape. It's a shame this tank is so dented. It's got a dent here and a pretty good sized dent right there. I don't know, we still might use that. We might be able to turn it the other way and put it on the other side. I don't understand fuel tanks on the curb side of commercial trucks. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, especially gas. So if you don't know, this is how U-Haul does their boxes. So they buy the truck like this with this box or this frame rail on it on the outside. And you know, it's riveted. This comes from the factory. You can see where the rivets are like this. So what they do is bring that slightly above their frame, and then they can put the extruded aluminum flooring that locks together. They put it on here, and that allows them to get their floor as low as possible without having like cross members. The floor extruded aluminum is the cross members, and that allows them to, you know, have this thing as low as possible for the rear loading deck. And you can see this tire's no good. This is borderline JUNK supplier. That one's okay, those are okay. And the funny thing is, really, all I need right now is from there to there. And we'll take all this stuff off real quick. We'll get all this off. The unfortunate thing is, in order to cut that frame, I need to get that side frame off. We lost lights on the back on the way home. Not surprising, because these things ride awful. This is just a backup right here. It's probably in here. We lost the ground to this, I'm guessing. This has its own ground. Yep. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe we just need to plug it in, fellas. Okay, anyways, let's get moving forward.
So we're working on removing this bumper that they have on here, and we can reuse it, I'm sure, for something. It'd make a nice step for something or whatever, so we'll just hang on to it till we need it again.
Yeah, it'll make a nice step. We'll get that hitch off the back though. There's a 2-inch ball there. Probably won't use that. That's pretty light. Working our way up the frame. Next is the fuel tank. So we disconnect our pressure line, return line, and the vent line, and then this line, and then I cap off everything here. I don't want any water getting in it. On these ends I put blue towel in the fitting, and then I put hard plastic covers on them so we don't get any gas fumes. This one's just a vent, so it's got a bolt that would fit best. So now we're going to get this tank unbolted and use a grade all, because I think I put 40 or 50 gallons in it when I brought it home.
We're just gonna put it here for now, and I'll just pump the gas out and put it in probably my mower or something. I was asking him if he wanted me to like twist it, but he's pretty good with the grade all. You know, he knows how to move it so he can get stuff where he wants it.
All right, we moved it up by the shop now so we can get the plasma cutter. We got the rear bumper taken off, and that there's a track in there for your sliding ramp that goes in. But we're gonna get the plasma cutter set up, disconnect the battery in the truck, and we're gonna burn these off real quick, all the rivets, and unbolt the leaf spring hanger, those 6 bolts. That bump stop has to come out. Got some bolts there for the shocks, leaf spring hanger, you know, whatever. The nice thing about this is when they build it, they put 2 bolts in each cross member, and then they rivet the 4 outside. So when we take this apart, the cross members are still holding the frame together. So that'll be nice. And it stops up here, which is great. we're not underneath the cab, so it'll be easy. I know a lot of guys probably would have just cut this off back here where they need it and dealt with it later, but this is a really nice piece of metal that I have an idea for, and I don't want it to get cut down because I think I want that length. So let's get set up and get started. Well, I think I have all the bolts out now. I think we're ready to start on the rivets. So, give myself some more room and not have to crouch down so far. We're going to lift this up. If I've got everything out, the only thing holding it will be those shock mounts that'll just kind of stop it from going too far. But let's see if it'll lift up. Got the bolts out. Oh, there's two bolts in the bottom hanger. I forgot about those. They hold the sway bar in. I don't know if they're part of that. Yeah, they stop it from coming down. So I'll take those two bolts out to get the axle leaf spring hangers out of the way. So I guess I'll let it down a little bit. It's ready. Take it off now.
Okay. Oops, sorry, hurt your head. Oh, there's one more? Two more. Oh my gosh, I thought that's it.
Gotta do the hat dance, or the glasses dance here. Battery.
You need a new battery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an old 5 amp hour one, and I've done this whole entire thing so far with one battery. Yeah, look, there's nothing left of that flat disc.
Yeah. You want a new one since I'm going in?
Just the battery.
Okay. I put a clamp on the frame just to hold it, so when we take the last part of it, it doesn't come crashing down.
Okay. I guess your clamp wasn't tight.
Well, I tried. So this side's done. The extra frame is off, but we have to take the plasma cutter and, you know, melt those down or put a hole through them and then...
Yeah, we'll flatten them off. I'll flatten them off, and we'll take the flat disc, do this again, and then we'll blow a hole through the middle and try and drive them out. That's what we did on the other side.
With the air hammer, like, they usually come out, but it takes 2 or 3 tries with the air hammer. They're difficult. This side's all done. All the holes are clean, empty, but not too bad. Thankfully, this has made the work a lot easier with this plasma cutter because it's so much better than our old one. And it sure made the job easier.
So I'm not sure where I left off, but the secondary frames are the add-on frame is off. All the rivets are out and pushed through, and I'm needle scaling the frame. I like to needle scale the frame before I cut it. That way I have an idea of what's going on, what we really have, because here in the rust belt where we're at, anything that's up against the frame causes it to rust, and we never know exactly what the condition is till we get everything off and get it cleaned up. I only actually need 3 feet of this frame. That's all I need. But we're gonna go ahead and move forward, because we had to take that outside frame off just to get to this anyways. And you know, I think it's probably, since we do have it apart, it's probably most efficient time wise, just go ahead and pull the drive shaft out, the carry bearings. Just go ahead and take these all out and move our axle forward. We'll take the brake lines loose. I think they're spliced right in here. Yeah, take that splice loose right there and drill our holes for all the rear end stuff and move that forward and get it ready, because I think this truck is going to end up as a 10-foot dump. It's a 2005, I believe, 8.1 gas, Allison automatic. Again, the transmission has no reverse, but I really believe that's an electrical problem, either a wiring. I believe there may have a wiring problem, or we have an internal failure electrically, but we'll see. I'll dig into it. If we do, I think if it needs a transmission, I think I have one with a PTO gear, so we'd have the option to run PTO or electric over hydraulic. Most people prefer a PTO driven hydraulic pump, not electric, so that would be a bonus. But we'd be cutting it right here at 10'4", and that gives us 4 inches in between the cab and the dump bed. Plus, if the dump bed we choose has a little bit of an overhang and the subframe comes back, we can always cut it off. And I kind of like this, where this cross member is, because we could easily run our hitch right in here at the end and leave that cross member there. And we'll have to move this one for the hanger, because I believe the leaf spring hangers are going to be like right in this area, if I remember right. 84 cabbed axle, something like that. If I can fudge this, the front, moving this thing forward is 102 inches. This front 2 drive shaft sections are 99 3/4. So it's a little shorter. This is a little bit longer by 2 1/4 inches. So I may just kind of shove this back 2 1/4 inches, not actually be 84 cabbed axle, make it 86 1/4. Not a big deal. And then I hopefully won't have to do any drive shaft work. But I'm going to get back to needle scaling, because I have a lot to do, and I would really like to get it done today. I don't think I'm going to make it, but I have showed this so many times in videos, but I still get people all the time asking me how we measure this out and send me emails and messages. So we use a piece of conduit, and all we do is we have a bolt in that end, and that end's been smashed. Drill the bolt through. So then we figure out how much we're moving the axle forward. In this case, it's 99 3/4 inches. So from the center of that bolt to up here is 99 3/4 inches. I put a pencil in here and I tape it so it can't move. And you can see we've done a lot of different ones. There's many holes in this thing from moving stuff. So then all we do is put this bolt centered in one of the holes, the existing holes. You can see them here. This is the old hanger. This is a shock mount, our bump stop, and a rear spring hanger. So all I have to do is put that right in the center of that hole, and then come down here and just take my pencil and just mark it like that. And then that gives me an exact copy of what this was. So after we do that, we take a tape measure and I make marks on it. These marks coincide with this. I put them for FH as front hanger. You can see there's 3 marks for front hanger. There's shock mounts, spring holes, bump stop. Everything's marked on here. So then all we have to do is come up here and hook it back the same way. and I'm working on the rear hanger. So I'll take this, line it up with my mark, rear hanger, rear hanger, rear hanger. And then we have the rear spring hole, spring center hole, right there. This is the easiest and most accurate way I have found to do this. And the number of times we've used this process is staggering. Alright, that's bump stop. And you'll see there's another bump stop here. This one happens to have one of the holes of the bump stop is in the same location as the front spring hanger, spring center bolt. Okay, now this is our shock mount. Here. I think we have shock. Let me look at that. I think I have different measurements on my shock. I have high mount shocks. Yeah, this have got, there's two. This is the shock because it's on an angle. This is a top shock. This one we'll do away with. Shock should be higher. Right there. Yeah, and these two should be lower. You just have to pay attention to that for each side because the shocks are, the shock mount is turned just a little bit on an angle. Look back there, you can see it. Anchor, FH, front hanger, front hanger, front hanger, and spring center. Alright, so the mag drill made quick work of this. Everything is drilled and ready to go. Now, the one thing about this is we're going to be able to reuse this cross member up here for the carrier bearing, but we're going to have to move it because now we're using a different drive shaft, so the distance out to here to the carrier is different, which is okay because we're actually going to close that gap up. I think it's going to be closer, and the next one would be here. Now we can't use this, we can't use this because they don't have the holes for this. Now we could probably drill it out if we really wanted to, or we could just reuse this mount. You can see how much bigger, widespread this mount is. The rear one, not such a big deal. We might be able to just use one of these as for the rear and it'd be okay, and just drill our hole wherever we need it, and I'd be okay with that. We just have to get it in place, line it up, and then drill this 1 1/8" hole here. So that'll be our next step. Is we're going to go ahead and get the brake lines cut loose right here, because we're going to not need that anymore. We'll get them out and we'll pull all of these cross members out, and then we're ready. We'll put jack stands underneath it here, because I'd like to clean up the inside of the frame of this as well, so it's ready to be painted. The hardest part of getting this straight without a guide is keeping your hands steady, of course. Now we just have to take that last 2 bolts out of either side, and each frame rail is ready to go. I'm going to clean this up the grinder now. Since I want to use the rear 2 drive shafts, and it's the front one of those will have a carrier bearing on it because we have a slip yoke in there, I have to move the location of this cross member. So what I need to do is take the original one and the one we're going to use and find the difference between one to the other, because the one we're going to use is quite a bit shorter. So I need to find out how much I need to move this back. I've already measured this, but I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. So I've got them laid out. Okay, so this is our original, and this is the one we want to use. And get these 2 squared up here. That's the skosh. Let's see, yeah, it looks close. Because we have a slotted joint here, we have a little leeway either way, so it's not horribly critical, but we'll get as close as we can, and I'll do a better job measuring this off camera, but it looks like 13 inches. 13 and a quarter, something like that. Another way to do it would be go the face of that one to the face of that one, which is 13, or the back side of this one to the back side of that one, which is 13. I think we'll go with 13, and then we'll move those holes. We'll set a new set of holes for that cross member. I need to take the cross member out anyways because we want to clean it up so we can paint it. So now's the perfect time to go ahead and transfer my holes and get all this drilled. Get all of our holes drilled for the new location of that cross member for the carrier bearing. We'll have to drill this hole in the cross member because that's one of the holders for the brake line, or we'd have to move it, one or the other. I don't think they use this one. We could probably move it to there. I don't know, we'll see. I'll probably just drill that hole and make it easy. The frame is all cleaned as much as we're going to clean it, and next step is going to be to give it 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of paint. We're going to be using this cross member at the rear because that big hole up there, I wouldn't have to use that. I could just use one of these and drill a hole in it, just as easy, I think. I'll have to think about if there's any benefit to that, to using this one as a drop, because we're going to put a hitch on the back of this, and we're going to put the cross member in before the hitch, so it would be beneficial to have that out of the way. This one would be in the way, that one would be out of the way. I don't know, we'll see. Everything's done. One of these cross members will get used for the other 4500 at the splice joint. We'll drill both sides of that splice and bolt that in. And then we have 2 more cross members that these need to get cleaned up and put it back in. This one, see how there's the holes cut here in the bottom? Those correspond to the sway bar link, and that one on the very end of it, that's for the main bolt through the eyelet of the leaf springs. That one's going to be our carrier bearing cross member. So we still got a little bit of cleanup to do, but we're going to go ahead and try and get the frame primed and painted ahead of time because we have rain coming, and I would really like to have this, since we spent so much time cleaning it, I'd like to have it primed and painted now so that you know, it's not all wasted time and effort getting all rusty. And I'll just grind the paint back off the very end here when we're ready to put the hitch on. But we still have to clean up this rear end. We'll do that at a later date. I'm not too concerned about it at this particular moment. It'll be just fine. We'll get to it, but let's get to painting. I have to go get primer and paint because we're completely out again. We spend a few bucks on primer and paint around here, that's for sure. We're ready to prime and paint the frame, and I've gone over what I use and why several times, but I still get questions often about what we use and how we put it on. So I thought I'd just take a minute and share with you guys what we do. So what we use is a Rust-Oleum. It's an oil-based enamel, and it's a rusty metal primer. That primer, if you have your frame, like we clean our frame up like you see in the video, that's as clean as it gets when we're doing this process. What we'll do right before we get ready to spray is we'll take a flap disc or an abrasive wheel, and we'll go over the frame and make some good, fairly, not deep, but enough grooves in the side of anything smooth that you can see, because it really needs nooks and crannies and grooves for that rusty metal primer to bite in. The rusty metal primer is for rusty metal, but not flaky. I mean, you have to get the loose stuff has to be off. I mean, rust color is really, I would say, where we head to. So we use that, and then we're going to spray it. I spray the primer and the paint. But in order to spray it, I need to thin it. It's too thick for me to spray with the way I do it. So I use acetone, and I thin it 4:1. So 4 ounces of paint gets 1 ounce of acetone. You can use mineral spirits or acetone, either one. I think the acetone seems to promote drying, might dry a little quicker, and I don't know, but I think it might give you a maybe a little more durable finish. So we'll spray that, and I use the same gun for the paint and the primer. This is just your bargain basement hobo freight gun that was given to me, and I've been using it on every single truck frame I've ever done, and it works just fine. So then once we get our 2 coats of primer on and it's timed out and it's ready for the top coat, that's when we're going to go to the gloss black again, oil base enamel. We're going to thin it the same way. We're going to go 4 parts paint, 1 part acetone, mix that all up. The only thing different we're doing in this is we're going to add a hardener. I ordered this hardener online because what it costs me to buy at Home Depot or Lowe's is about 2/3 of what this whole thing costs, and you're only getting about this much. So I order online. We use it often enough that a bigger container won't go to waste. Now, when I do go to spray, I'll use the Harbor Freight gun, and I'll set my regulator pressure. I'll put a regulator right here so I can monitor it right here and make changes. But I usually go between 20 and 24 psi air supply while I'm spraying, and it's the same for the primer and the paint, and it works okay for me. It gives me a good coat that's heavy enough but not really too heavy if you're careful, to where you get a lot of runs. I still get some runs, but it's a truck frame. It's not a car body. So that's what we use. And I know a lot of guys are going to say they use this, they use that, and great luck and whatever. I've used several different things, and I have not had anything work for me as well as this has. I've got trucks that have been done for 4 years now, and they'll get salt and brine solution on them and sit all winter long with that on there, and they still look good. So I'm going to stick with this for right now until I find something better. And I'm only doing this because I don't have fresh metal. If I had sandblasted metal, I would not do this process. If I had fresh, clean, sandblasted metal, I would use an epoxy primer sealer, and then I would use a different coating on top of that. But we can talk about that another time, because that's where we're headed to. I'm hoping to my next purchase to be a sandblasting cabinet for all my parts that we need to do, and hopefully a sandblasting rig that we can use here to sandblast these frames instead of cleaning up like we do, because it just takes too long. And we can't get the quality of cleanliness that I want and what I'm trying to achieve and trying to make our builds better and better. So without further ado, I'm going to start mixing this up so we can start painting.
At least it's really warm out today for once, so it should dry quick. Did you tell him? Did you tell him about the gun?
No.
So we realized, you know, we always take the gun apart and clean it after every time we're done, or every color, you know, or whatever. And there's a piece that we didn't think actually came off, but it does, and it was all gummed up, and that's why it seemed like the primer wasn't coming out good. And that's why it was like a lot of air. I mean, it still turned out fine. It just took forever to get a good coat on. So the gun seems to be working a lot better now.
Yes. It's still spitting. See it spitting and sputtering?
Yeah.
There's still some crud that I need to get out occasionally. Good thing I'm not painting the car.
Well, we may be ready to buy a new one. I mean, that's a cheapie, and we've used it a lot, so.
Yeah, I've used it a lot. But it's laying down some paint now.
Yeah.
See how it's going, put, 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 put.
Yeah. Are you out?
And now.
Again? It shouldn't be clogged up already. Alright, I'll clean it.
We struggled with the gun for a little while, and then we just decided to stop. I took the gun in completely apart and cleaned every single piece I could get out, and man, was there a lot more places I could have cleaned that I didn't before, and that's kind of why I was having troubles. But regardless, we got it done. Got 2 good coats on, so hopefully this will dry before too long, because we have rain coming, and if it's not dry good enough, I'm probably gonna have to put plastic over it or a tarp or something, and I may do that anyways. We'll have to wait and see. We were gonna give up on moving this axle back. We were just gonna use that air ride suspension and go here if I couldn't find a frame, because we don't have time. But now that we do, we're gonna go ahead and start drilling. We're not using 13/16 because I found a used bracket for a reasonable amount. I got it on its way. All the pieces I think I need for the air ride suspension are on their way. U-bolts, airbags, shocks. I talked with a very, very interesting guy today about my shocks. I had located shocks he had for sale, and they do new old stock stuff. So they're constantly getting replenishment loads of new old stock from, you know, big trucking companies that don't want that stuff in their inventory anymore because it's out of their fleet, or companies that close down, stuff like that. I was able to get my shocks, the shock from them, for $57 shipped to my door. Most places that was $75 up to I think the highest was 147 I saw. So the name of their company is Pay It Forward Parts. Clayton is the guy I spoke to over there. I'll leave a link in the description. You guys can check them out. Really helped me out with that, and we're talking about some other things that we might be doing in the future. And they'll be at the Mid-America Trucking Show. So how about that? That's pretty cool. We'll get to meet them down there. So today, you know we're getting serious. The mag drill's coming out. Guys have said in the last video I sound so much happier. I don't know how I couldn't be. I finally get to build some of my trucks. And unfortunately, we can't help anybody else this year. We've done all we could do last year. It was a huge setback. It was a hard thing for us to do, and we just can't do it this year. This year we have to recover from what we've done and what we've given away. So we're gonna have to focus on what we need to do now. And yes, I'm happy because that gets this thing closer to being sold. Make no mistake, we do not want this truck. No, we do not want this truck. We're just doing this in phases. It is for sale the whole entire time. So if you want it, shine up your pennies and get ready and take it so we don't have to do any more to it. All right, we're going to get drilling. We're going with all 11/16 holes because we got the right bracket coming now. So keep that in mind. So let's get at it. So this side is completely drilled now except for where the airbag goes. And that's because that's where our splice is going to go. We weld the two frames together. Working on this side, and we got 5 holes drilled. We're letting the drill bit cool a little bit because it's probably due to be sharpened, and rather than push it hard and dull it, I'm just going to let it cool. So we'll take and run the thing for a while just in the free air and just put some oil on it, you know, just let it cool down a little bit and then let it sit, and then we'll finish these. We're not going to drill these last 2 on this side or that one over there for the airbags. This is a leveling valve as well because we have to fix this because it, you know, looks like it's been chewed off by a family of angry beavers there. You'd think at a upfit company they could figure out how to cut a straight line on a frame. It's awful. So we'll do that later when we're ready. We'll get it all prepped. But that's where we're at right now. Well, it's been a couple hours now, and yeah, that ain't so bad. Not for a Rust-Oleum paint job. Now if we could just keep the stinking bugs out of it, that'd be great. So we ended up taking that gun apart and really scrubbing it, every piece, every morsel, everything we could, and then it finally started spraying nicely. So we ended up with 2 coats of primer, 3 coats of paint, and I think it'll be just fine. So the next step is we have that cross member, this cross member, that cross member, and the rear axle to clean up. So I'm going to put that on stands, get the wheels and tires off. My wife's going to continue to clean this up. You know, she's going to clean this up so that I can move on to other stuff. She's going to continue with this. I need to get this frame section cut off, and I'm going to cut it right here, right about there at that mud mark, and that's what's going to go on the back of my 4500. Now make no mistake, my plan is to finish this truck, this gas truck, this old U-Haul here. I want to finish this before the 4500, and the reason being is I want to be able to get this thing up for sale as a cabin chassis. I'm going to put a hitch plate on the back. We're going to weld that on. We'll put some lights here. I'm thinking about doing like oval lights in a 2x4 box tubing. Put some LED lights in it, and you know, a light on the corner here, 1 3/4 LEDs. I have some 4-inch rounds. They're not LEDs, but I might look at Parts Am and see what they have available. Maybe I'll get something off of that and off their website and use that instead. It'd be a good opportunity to get some really cool, because I think they have the oval LEDs with stop, turn, tail, and backup. So that's all in one light. I don't know, we'll look into that. But I would like to get the hitch done, get everything bolted back together, make the boxes or something for the back, and put mud flaps on the back of the box. And oh yeah, I cleaned up the brake lines and fuel lines and painted them too. Not because I think it's going to look fantastic, just for preservation. You know, it's definitely not going to hurt anything. I'm going to look into this transmission. Fingers crossed I can fix it without removing it. If I can, then that brings me to the next step. This thing is going to go up for sale. U-Haul sells these things for anywhere from $5,900 running and driving to about $8,900. So I have, and that's what as they have them, right? As I got this one. So I'm thinking for all the working and things we're doing to make this cabin chassis, we're gonna put the fuel tank back on too. It's very close. Like there's no room for anything in here if I put that tank in. In fact, I'm not actually certain it's gonna fit nicely, or on this side or that side. But I'm thinking that if we make it set up to where you could put a 10-foot dump on it, like it's ready for electric or hydraulic right now, then it's got to be worth $8,500, I would think. Wouldn't you? What do you guys think? $8,500 if it's set up and done, got a hitch on the back, and you know, all painted up. I think that's reasonable. So while she's doing all that, and I'm gonna get the frame ready because I finished drilling my holes on the 4500 here, so they're all done. So while she's cleaning that up, I'm gonna bring that frame in and I'm gonna start getting this dressed up and straight like it should be, get our frame fitted up and get ready to weld. But make no mistake, my priority at this moment is that truck. If I can make that run and drive and put it up for sale, if I can sell it for $8,500, it's leaving. I'm not gonna make it a dump truck. If it doesn't sell for $8,500, I'm not taking less, because I know what it would sell for with a dump bed on it. If it doesn't sell for $8,500, when this one is done, and this is, you know, the first phase of this is done, I'm gonna bring that truck in and I'll put a dump bed on it. I don't know if it'll be a brand new one or one I already have, but I'll put a dump bed on that truck or something. But that's where we're at right now. Then I got to get this done. My son needs this for Mid-America Trucking Show. That's like 18 days away now, I think. Yeah, and there's not a lot of time yet, and I still have his camper. I'm still working through some problems on his camper, trying to get it fixed. And man, the schedule's tight. It's really tight. Friends of ours are trying to make it for mats too. Jesse and Lee are trying to make to mats. They're putting together a Peterbilt 379. This was a body off frame restoration. They gutted it. They stripped the cab, the hood, and the sleeper down to bare metal. They are doing this build 100% themselves. These are the kind of people I like to watch, because when they say they are building a truck to go to mats, that's what they mean. The two of them are building this truck. They do not want anybody else working on it. They want to do it themselves. They want to be able to say and have the pride that they did it from start to finish by themselves. And I'm telling you, you got to see this paint job. It is second to none. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's going to be such a beautiful truck. Do us a favor, go to their channel. It's called Jesse and Company. I'll leave a link in the description. Go over there, check them out, give them some views, subscribe if you want, leave some comments. That's what helps grow a channel. If you can leave comments and subscribe and leave them thumbs up, that really helps to drive that channel to get suggested. So when you open up your YouTube and you see those suggested videos there, that's how they got there, because a lot of other people, you know, are saying, hey, that's a good channel to watch. So go over there and check them out. Tell them we sent you. You'll enjoy their channel, I'm sure of it. You won't believe the quality of this build. I mean, they've gone so far as to polish the door jambs, the aluminum door jambs on this Peterbilt. It's just incredible. You got to see this. Anyways, as a matter of fact, hang on. Don't go anywhere, because Jesse is going to introduce her right after I'm done here. So hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll catch you on the next one.
Hey y'all, what's up? So, I'm Jesse, and got a little channel called Jesse and Company. JC, super cool, is wanted me to tell y'all a little bit about what we're doing and the channel, and see if you guys may want to come over and check us out. And we're building a truck called Dirty Deeds, and it's a 94 Peterbilt 379. Lee Smith's the owner of it. Here he is. Say hi, Lee.
Hey, how y'all doing?
So, it's Lee's truck, and he's been wanting to rebuild it for a while. And started the channel. This is my first project, and he's all the way in it too. It was old Peterbilt. had 2 million miles on it. Guys, you gotta check out where we started. I can't edit that in right now, but if you run over to the channel, we did a startup on it. It was rolling around, didn't have a cab on it.
So we first off, we did a, let's see if it'll start.
Yeah.
Then it's, let's see if we can take it all apart.
Well, we was gonna just strip it and redo it and make it a little prettier and then maybe show it some. And we started stripping, and instead of just stripping the paint, we ended up stripping the whole truck.
Yeah. It's a million pieces.
Yeah, and we are trying our best to get to match. Guys, we started this channel, I started doing this project with Lee in October. And that put Max at 6 months away. But I am a dreamer. And I love to try to do things in a crazy, quick fashion, which is crazy. Look at Lee. Look at Lee's face. He's ready to kill me. But anyways, guys, I'll show you. Look, there's the hood. There's the doors to the back. There's the cab step back there. The cab looks real nice. We did a video on that. But anyways, guys, I will give you along. But I just want to throw that out there and throw it out there and let you guys know what we're doing. Guys, we're building what I hope is the truck of the year. I got a lot of passion for this stuff. Lee's got a lot of years invested in trucking and stuff. And we have went from just freshening up an old Peterbilt to doing a frame-off restoration to what we hope is one of the baddest Peterbilts in the showcase when we're done. But guys, we would love to have you over at our at the channel. It's Jesse and Company. Come and see us. Come and drop us comments. Let us know what you think. I love the comments. I love all the support, and we would love to have you with us. So come check us out, guys. And thanks, JC, for letting them know about us.